Now, it's a large area within the Volta region with many national assets, including large quantities of oil deposits, various government hospitals, universities, etc. But there is a threat. The Homeland Study Group Foundation, a group agitating for an independent state that they call Western Togoland, are laying claim to the area, and they're demanding to secede from Ghana. Now, they have in fact scheduled tomorrow as the day for the declaration of their independence. And they say they've already notified President Akufo-Addo, the United Nations, neighboring countries, as well as members of the diplomatic corps. Now, they seem to be so serious about this, so much that they have some structures in place to help them stay on as an independent state. Today, a joint police and military team stormed the area just before they could hold a news conference and arrested some of their members. We're going to tell you all about this shortly. But first, here's an update on Charles Kwame Kujoji. He is the chairman of the group and was arrested on Sunday. You can see him right there with his face on their currency. He was put before court today, and Joseph Akable was there for us. Joseph, thank you for your time. Tell us, how exactly did things unfold in court? Let's go to let's go through what happened today.
So, because as I speak to you now, and I mean, the case, we have taken information that the 7 individuals who had been picked up were going to be charged formally before the court today. We understand that the charges relate to treason, felony, and that's the main charge, but the other charges that will also be preferred against them. We got here at about 11 a.m. At about 12:15, the gentlemen were brought in by some Bureau of National Investigations officials into the courtroom. We've been waiting for more than 2 hours. We're in one of the criminal court divisions. Then we just got information that the case is to be heard in a different courtroom, which is upstairs in the law court complex where we currently are. So as I speak to you now, just about 2 minutes ago, we were walking to a different courtroom where we understand the judge has been now handed a case to deal with. And as I speak to you, the individuals are all seated, the prosecutors are in, but they are without counsel. We've been trying to find out, and the information we are picking again indicates that when they were arrested in the Volta region, their communication gadgets were seized from them. And so that has made it difficult for them to even communicate with persons who belong to their group and individuals who they believe could ensure that they get access to their lawyers. So that has not been done. And so they are in a courtroom waiting for the case to be called now. In terms of what is likely to transpire, we understand that the charges have been formally read. A plea may not be taken because of the absence of counsel, but the charges will be formally read. Then the prosecutors will ask that the court remands them into custody pending further investigation. So those are the main issues that we think will happen in terms of what is supposed to happen today.
Right. Now, Joseph, tell us, they've been charged with felonies, but what would be their sentence if they're found guilty? I mean, what could be their sentence?
From what we understand from the lawyers, if it's just a treason charge that is put against them, that is the highest crime, punishable by death. And as we all may well be aware, in terms of our Fourth Republic dispensation, no president has formally signed that sentence if it is imposed. But people have been sentenced time and again. And a bit of background is that it's not the first time these individuals have been arrested and put before court. Sometime last year, they were picked up and taken to a circuit court in the Volta region, where the charge of treason was preferred against them. But the court declined jurisdiction on the basis that it's a high crime and the appropriate forum ought to be the high court and not at the circuit court. So this time around, it came as no surprise that when they were picked up, the state actors ensured that they take them to the appropriate forum, in which case the high court, and that is where we currently are waiting for the case to be called.
Right. Now, how many people in total, remind us, how many people in total have been charged?
When they brought them in, I counted 6 of them initially. But later, the elderly man who was named as the leader was also brought in. He came in about 45 minutes after 6 individuals had been brought in. So that put the number at 7. But earlier, the report that we had picked up indicated that there were 8 individuals. So once the case is formally called, we'll know how many of them will be charged. But in terms of the numbers and how they were led into the courtroom, I counted 7 of them.
Right. Keep your eyes on the proceedings, and we'll stay in touch with you for updates as the evening wanes on. Thank you very much. That, of course, is our court correspondent, Joseph Akabley. Now, let's go to the Volta region where events transpired earlier, resulting in the arrest of these individuals. Fred Kwame Asare is on the beat for us there. Fred, so tell us, there were even more arrests today. What exactly transpired?
People started converging at the residence of the media, that is Kwame, earlier today. The intention was that they want to hold a press conference and then relay some information to the public through the media. But then before they could start with the press conference, a joint military police team arrived at the scene and then rounded them up. I counted about 15 of them who were made to mount the police and then the military vehicles, and then they were taken to the Volta Regional Police Headquarters. They were locked behind cells, and then they had some information taken from them. We were there when another bus arrived. It's in form of a VIP bus. It's about 55-seater bus arrived, and then when we inquired, we were told that they were believed to be members of the Homeland Study Group Foundation who were heading to the leader's house for the press conference. So they were made to come to the police headquarters where they had information, where they took information from them as well. But
how many were they?
Well, the number, earlier, we were not able to get an accurate number from the police. They told us they were holding a meeting. But then before I came on air, I spoke to my sources at the police station, and then they told me that about 81 of people believed to be associated with the Homeland Study Group Foundation have been arrested. Earlier in the day, some were arrested in a neighboring community called Yavi. They said he was dressed in the group's T-shirt, so he was arrested. Some 2 people were also picked at a suburb around around the Ola traffic light. About 2 people were also picked there earlier in the morning. So my sources at the police station say, or at the police headquarters say, the numbers are at 81 at the moment.
Right. Now, these people are seeking to secede and take with them a rather large and significant portion of the nation. How do the people who live in these areas, those who are at the university, those who work at the hospitals and all the various installations that fall within that piece of land that they are seeking to make in an independent state, how do the residents there feel about these arrests?
I should say there's a mixed reaction towards this arrest at the moment. Though some people are in favor or are in support of the group and then condemn the arrest, the others who also feel that the group is embarking on a cause that may not see the day, that may not be fruitful. In the sense that just a minute of people in the affected area, that is the Western Togoland, are in support of this particular cause. Majority of them believe or feel that the territory should still remain with Ghana, and that there's no need calling for secession or independence of the Western Togoland anymore. So I should say that there's mixed reactions from residents here in the Volta and then other territories in the Western Togoland.
But that's curious. If you're saying that the majority of the residents actually are not in favor of a secession, how were they intending to implement it with unwilling citizens?
Could you come again with the question?
I said if majority of the residents in the area that they were seeking to secede, majority of them were not in favor of the secession, how was this group planning to implement it with unwilling citizens?
Well, for that, I can't speak to that at the moment because I have not had prior information on how they are willing to ensure that people in the region who may be against their cause would also join them and then support their cause.
All right. Well, Fred, at the moment, the action by the military and the police was very swift. They got there in time to stop the press conference. Are you getting any indications from your sources in the police authority or elsewhere why the authorities have taken this threat, if you will, so seriously?
Well, after the operation, we tried severally to speak to the police and then other entities about this particular arrest, but then they've been tight-lipped. They don't want to give us information. All they keep saying is that, well, they are meeting and then they are rounding up the information. So at the right time, they'll relay all those information to us.
All right, Fred. Well, we'll leave you to it. Keep an eye on things for us, and of course, we'll talk more in the coming hours. Fred Kwame Asare there. He's on the beat in the Volta region for us, covering this very important, interesting case. Now let's learn what we can about this group that seeks to secede from Ghana, along with a large chunk of the Volta region. On the phone to help us understand this is Wilson Kwame Yayo, Professor Wilson Kwame Yayo. He's an Associate Professor of History at the Center for African and International Studies, University of Cape Coast. Professor Yayo, thank you so much for your time with us. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Kojo. Thank you, and also to your listeners.
Now, this is a matter that has been going on in the background for a while. This is not the first time people have been arrested in connection with this bid to secede, along with some chunk of the Volta region. Can you talk us through the historical antecedents to this?
Well, thank you very much. The first point to make is that there is no such a thing as Western Togoland. It just doesn't exist. Togoland was Togoland. It was not divided into regions. It was divided into districts. And the Northern Evis, the present-day Northern Evis, were part of what we call the Mitahogwe district. The headquarters was in Togoland. So Western Togoland just does not exist. There is no map anywhere where you see Western Togoland. All you see is Togoland, German Togoland. So that's the first point to make. Secondly, we need to understand that the whole of what present-day Volta region was not colonized by the Germans. So the whole of Western Togoland, the whole of Volta region today was not part of German Togoland. That is the second point to make. I want to make the point that there is no historical basis for the whole of the Volta region to decide today that you are going to Togo. It's just not possible. There is no historical basis for it. The point must be noted that the Germans colonized part of what you have today as Volta region. I mean, Volta region before the new creation of the Volta region. It stretched all the way from Ho to Baku area in the north. That was part, and then the present-day Togoland, that was part of German Togoland. But German Togoland actually came into existence in 1890. All the areas from Ho all the way to Pando, excluding Petit, Kito, Awudome, which is Anyawasi, the headquarters, they were all not part of German Togoland. So the Germans didn't colonize all the areas. So all areas cannot come out today and say they are moving to Togo. It will never happen. It's just not possible. There is no historical basis for such a move. The Germans never colonized the whole of every people.
I think you've made the point. Prof, so help us understand. This group is not seeking to secede with the entirety of the Volta region, but a sizable chunk of it. And they suggest that this is just a culmination of processes that were began a very long time ago. So historically, can you tell us about the context within which there have been bids to, well, not to secede, but to create some form of independence for certain portions of the Volta region?
The context, that's what I want to come about. The context is there. Part of the present-day Volta region was colonized by the Germans. But as I said, not all the areas were colonized by the Germans. The Germans came in after the British had occupied the area where we have Ho, that area was first occupied by the Danes. The Danes were the first to have contact with that particular area. Then in 1850, the Danes sold the area to the British. And then the British moved on. In 1886, the British incorporated that particular area, the area we call Peki today, which is a major state, was incorporated into what we call the Gold Coast colony. And one area, from Keta up to Tongu areas, They were all part of the Gold Coast colony from 1874. Now, when the Germans came in 1884 from the coast, they got entangled with the British, and that led to the partitioning of the area in 1890, and what we call the Heligoland Treaty. So that divided the area between the British and the Germans, and that division divided the whole of the Ewe section, the southern part, into two. So areas like Peki, areas like Chito, up to Anglo, Tongu, were not part of German Togoland. The areas of the Ewe section that fell within the German Togoland were areas like Ho, Pohwe, Pando. They were part of the German Togoland. Up to the north, up to Baku area, the Dagon area was divided into two. That was the area occupied by the Germans, up to present-day Togoland. Then when the Germans were driven out of Africa because of their loss of the First World War, and they were punishment meted out to them was that they should leave Africa. The Germans left, and the area was partitioned the second time between the British and the French. So the British and the French partition sent the border to where it is today between Ghana and Togo. So the point is that some of the areas like Peki, Chito, Anglo, and Tongu people were not part of German Togoland. The Germans didn't colonize them. So the people from the Volta region who are areas cannot say they are living now and leave their kith and king in Peki and Awudome and Inawase, Tongu and Anglo and leave them behind and go to Togo. Besides that, all the other people to the north of present-day Ewe area of the Volta region, like Tasikan, Raura, KJB, up to the north, that one area, they will all have to agree to move out of Ghana. But they were incorporated into Ghana in 1956 when they voted that they would join the then Gold Coast. So that is the historical antecedent of the area. It's a complex history. I will need more time to digest all of this, but that's the gist I've given to you.
Now, of course, what you've described are the administrative processes. What can you tell us about the views of the people over the years? You can see some very elderly men part of this most recent movement. It would appear that this concept has been something that they've held on to for quite a long time of their lives. What can you say about the history of the people of that area? Has there been a desire on their part to see a change in the shape of the map?
I really don't see any serious desire on the part of the people that move to Togo. It's just a few of them, and that's because they don't understand the history of the area. They capitalize on this ignorance of the people and getting the confusion. The point is that even at the time they were talking about leaving Togo, when they formed the Togoland Congress in Chasikan area, in Dodowa, Chasikan in 1950, even after forming that, they still took part in the 1956, 1954, and 1956 elections. In fact, the independent election, Togoland Congress that was seeking to secede from Ghana took part in that election, won 2 seats in parliament. Right? The leader of the movement, the leader of the people calling for them to move out of Ghana, who was Anto, he became a member of the Bush government. He was the ambassador of Ghana to Togo. So I really don't see any serious action by any people. It's not a concerted effort by any of them to move out of Ghana. Just a few people who I think do not have a clear understanding of the history of the area that are creating this confusion. That is why I am pleasantly surprised that the government has decided to make history a compulsory subject. Our inability to appreciate our history is a major problem for development. And this agitation will continue to arise. So right now, if you look at the map of German Togoland, the line passed through Ho, and Peki, which is a major every town, was out of German territory. In fact, there's a town there called Kwame. That town was divided into two by the German-British boundary. The new Kwame, the new side of Kwame town, was in the Gold Coast, while the old town was in the German territory. So today, if they are saying they will move to Togo, it means that people of Kwame will have to leave their kith and kin in the new town of Kwame today and go to Togo. Practically, it is just not possible.
Right. Professor Wilson Yayo, thank you so much. That was very insightful. We appreciate your time with us. Professor Yayo is from the Center for African and International Studies at the University of Cape Coast, giving us some insight there into the historical antecedents of this desire to secede with a chunk of the Volta region. Accra High Court has remanded into police custody several persons arrested in the Volta region for their alleged attempt to declare independence. One other accused person, Charles Kujoji, aged 85, was however granted bail to the tune of 250,000 Ghana cedis with two sureties. Now, they were today slapped with the charges of treason felony, abetment of unlawful training, unlawful assembly, and offensive conduct. Let's get back to our court correspondent, Joseph Akable, who has the latest. Joseph, tell us what else has transpired.
So according to the state prosecutors, Kojo, the individuals intended to declare independence in the Volta region tomorrow, and so they asked that the court remands them to enable the relevant security agencies to carry out further investigations. We are told that the case is being handled by Interpol and the Criminal Investigations Department, and so those are the two main agencies in terms of the local chapter of the Interpol and the CID are handling this particular matter. We understand that, according to the state prosecutors, these individuals had been arrested in 2017, the same people. They were bonded to be of good behavior. Then they still went ahead to commit the same crime, for which the state prosecutors believe that if they are granted bail, they may go ahead with the declaration as they intended to do tomorrow. The accused persons also had some concerns that when they were arrested, they were denied the opportunity to speak to counsel. They were assured, they were asked to give names of their lawyers and that they will be contacted, but that was not done. And so they had wanted to be granted bail, but the justices disagreed. We understand the case delayed because of the nature of the crime. So 3 judges of the High Court had to hear this particular matter.
DW, what are they talking about?
On a normal day, 3 judges of the High Court have to hear this particular matter, but we are told that due to the nature of the crime, they have to empanel a 3-panel of justices of the High Court to hear this particular case. And so that is why it delayed in terms of the court's authorities getting the relevant judges to sit here this particular matter. So the case has been adjourned to May 22. The 7 have been remanded, 1 been granted bail to the tune of 250,000 cedis with 2 sureties, 1 to be justified, Kojo.
Right then. So the one who was granted bail, the elderly man, Mr. Kujoji, who was granted bail, were reasons given why he was the only one to receive bail?
Not at all, Kojo. Except that, I mean, even in the courtroom, he struggled to rise up to speak, and even whenever he rose to speak, when he was if he wanted to speak again, he should just remain in his seat and not stand up, because he was delaying the court whenever they wanted to hear from him. So we're safe to assume that could be perhaps due to his age, and he had actually told the court that he's a retired educationist. He said he used to be a director of education, and he is retired, and so the court may have taken that into consideration. But the other individuals are to remain in the custody of the relevant agencies.
Right. Well, keep an eye on things for us, Joseph Akable, and we will catch up with you later. Thank you so much. That's our court correspondent, Joseph Akable.